Hello, hello, hello. We continue with our breeze through the discography of Pulp, and today it's the fourth studio album. It's His and Hers, released 18th of April 1994, though it was recorded between July 92 and February 94. So yeah, 50 minutes 38 seconds long. Yeah, interesting. How did we get here? Well, again, Pulp had kind of dropped everything and reconfigured and reformed themselves into a very different band. They adopted a style which I call retro futurism. The last we saw of that was from the likes of Roxy Music. Look at the album sleeve. It's a pseudo Roxy, and you'll see that later on with their This Is Hardcore sleeve. For they have gone back to go forward like Roxy did. Roxy Music adopted the styles and similarities of the 50s and dragged it into the 70s, and we see Pulp doing the same, dragging the 70s into the 90s. And it's really curious because around the same time there was a very in vogue fashion for retro clothing. People were, buying like old clothes, flares and Terraline shirts and whatnot. And we see this in the style of Pulp. And again, if you see their videos, that's replicated. The people that appear in the videos are styled very much as if they were from the 1970s, even though it was the 1990s. It's very out of step. But what we see with this album is not only as the music has expanded, but Cocker has decided that he's going to tell stories, and he's going to write little vignettes of things and people he's known possibly or seen possibly, and he brings the kitchen sink drama of the North to the album format. And I find it fascinating. I really do. It's mundane, but it's also told in epic terms. It's sleazy and sexy and dirty, but innocent. There's a lot of contradictions in this. Excuse me. The opening track, Joyriders. It's almost the flip side to Common People. How so? Well, you see, Common People is kind of celebrating the people at the bottom. Well, Joyriders is about the same people, but these people are the underclass. The common people are the underclass, surely, but these people are so thick we can't think of anything but shit, sleep and drink. And that kind of echoes the line about, there's nothing else to do in the common people. But this time Cocker casts himself as the innocent in the Jesus sandals being approached by those terrible vandals ready to smash up somebody's home. And it's played out like a little soap opera, and there's drama in it, and it builds to something. Again, the music builds with the lyrics, and there's a sophistication here that we, again, just immediately, an immediate sophistication. Now, I talk about my own experience. I'm trying to think back to 1994, but I think I came to them from, do you remember the first time being on, what was it, MTV and whatnot? And I think that's what made me go, ooh, this is interesting. And then there was, I know Davies was released as well, but I don't ever remember seeing that on MTV. And then we have, Cocker likes to draw stories from the female perspective, or looking at females, and this is echoed a lot in these albums now. Lip Gloss, the second track, is about that. It's about somebody who, is trying their best to please a man and destroying themselves. I can change him. I can change him. And so it's kind of it's kind of a flip to like domestic violence, coercion, but he's trying to keep a man interested. And there's a lot of these kind of lyrics in this, acrylic afternoons, about affairs. There's a lot of extramarital and naughty stuff. Have you seen her lately? Is another one. It's about a woman who's gone the wrong way, who's with the wrong person, and all these things kind of repeat themselves. But again, with the music, it creates a lovely little set of stories. And when you think about what Blur were doing at a similar time, you have the North and the South. This is the northern perspective, but they've time shifted it. If you think of these stories, again talking about things like lip gloss and acrylic afternoons, the language is very much looking backwards. It's almost like this. It is set in the 1970s. Babies is another great one. It's perversion put to music. Someone hiding in the closet. It's Arnold Lane. In the wardrobe, watching, being a voyeur. Again, voyeurism is a very important theme in Cocker's lyrics. I spy, being witness to things. The visual, a very important element to Cocker's work, and you get it here as well with Babies. I just love the way it's structured. I want to take you home. I want to give you children. It's a polite way of saying, like a little bit of how's your father, thank you very much. Again, She's a Lady. It's another song about women. He likes drawing these character studies, whereas Damon Albarn was drawing pictures of like middle-aged men losing their minds or the arrogant city business type. Cocker's looking elsewhere. Women as victim. There are no strong women in this. There always seem to be victims. Happy endings. I mean, that has a double meaning. I mean, if you go to a massage and have an happy ending, or are there no happy endings? You can read this song in many different ways. The idea of everyone deserves a happy ending. What is a happy ending? If you go for a massage, there's a happy ending. But again, things not being as they should be or could be. Disappointment. Again, disappointment runs through. It's another narrative strand. Trying to fight the mundane. His and hers. You're probably thinking, what's that a reference to? Again, it's a reference to, almost suburban, settled life. You have the his and hers luggage or the his and hers towels set, and it's those people who've settled down. Damon Albarn was doing, we kiss with dry mouths, dry lips, sorry, when we kiss. There's a lot of this going on, almost like, oh no, you don't want to be settled. That's wrong. Again, Cocker, he's quite an interesting character because he portrays himself as like kind of, I guess, not working class. He's very middle class in his aspect and the way he writes. I mean, his mother was a conservative councillor, though his father left when he was 7 years old. So we share that history, and we roughly I think we're the same age. So we grew up in a very female households. This is why women are such an important part of his lyrical pursuit. So that's, but there's quite a lot of cynicism running through it. We don't want to be normal. We want to be weird and wonderful. but even the normal people, you know, the people who settled down were weird and wonderful once. You know, it's that thing. But maybe it's born out of youth. I don't know. Do you remember the first time? Like I say, it's the song that brought me to the band. Well, I assume it's about losing your virginity. I assume that. But it can be about many different things. It can be about many different virgin experiences that we have. But in this, I do think it is about, you know, it's about losing your virginity. It's getting late, and he's so straight. Again, it's about, oh no, he's conformity. We must rebel. And yeah, I find these lyrics kind of, you know, curious. Yeah, but there you go. But again, reading these lyrics now is, you know, long as you save a piece for me. It's very 1970s, isn't it? A piece of ass, as the Americans might say. Pink glove. This is them going full fetish. Whereas Brian Ferry was singing about blow up dolls in his swimming pool. We have a pink glove. The only way you can get turned on is if you wear that pink glove, baby. And again, I find it funny. Again, as somebody who's never had a fetish, you know, for clothing, I always find this kind of stuff, it amuses me. Someone Like the Moon is probably the weakest track on the record. He's trying to do this again. He has a very European take, a very almost French, Jacques Brel, that kind of thing. Scott Walker, perhaps. Again, Scott Walker went on to produce them. You can hear it coming through in a song like this, and I kind of understand what it does on the album, because it gets us prepped for the final track. But it's one, you know, if I had it on CD, I'd probably skip it. Now, the final track is probably, again, one of the strongest tracks on the record. I've always liked this one. It's called Davies Last Summer. Now, David is already referenced in Babies, you know, from the garage down the road with a kid called David, you know. So, you know, Cocker's already, you know, exophorically referenced his characters. This is a shared world. This is the, you know, the Cocker song universe. You know, so these songs all drawn from the same place and the same time, and it's about endings, and it's on the end of an album. And if this had been their final album, this would be a great ending. But when we get to their final album, we've got another great ending there, and it's that sense of time passing. It's the sense of the last summer. Now, it's David's last summer. I've always took it to be that he dies, that this person goes. If you're optimistic, it's because David maybe moves away, and it's the last time you spent any time with them in that summer experience. But it's about time passing. It's about doing things you do when you're young. It's about skinny dipping. It's about drinking cider. It's about watching the moon, you know, disappear in the sky as the sun comes up. And it's about summer leaving. There's always, it's something I always feel. September's one of my favourite months, because you get that transition between summer and autumn coming, and the crispness in the air returns. Don't get me wrong, I like the summer, but there's a point where that crispness returns, and the weather's nice, but there's that little freshness. It's the same feeling. It's like the inverse of the feeling of spring arriving, where the cold is given away to the first rays of sunlight, and the green shoots are rising, the sap begins to rise. And this is the other way. And for me, September's one is my favourite month, because met the missus, well, stepped out with the missus then, and my 2 kids were born in September. So for me, you know, and that's what that song kind of represents. And I really, really like it. And it's sad. And it's, you know, it's mourning. It's about, you know, leaving. It's about death. It's about the passing of time. It's about the death of youth, you know, death of naivety. And that is the end of the album, and it's so superior to anything they ever done. And I will never understand how they got from the trash that they were doing to this. Though it is interesting. There is there's a compilation that they did. If I can remember what it's called, I've got it in my digital archive. If I can pull it up, Sorry, my computer is a bit clunky, because you know what it's like. You know what computers are like. Yeah, it's called Pulp Intro, the Gift Recordings, and that was issued around the same time as His and Hers, and it compiles all the singles, because you have like Razzmatazz and Babies, different version, and you can kind of see where the band changed, but it's still a massive jump from 89 to would have been 93. I just, you know, it's, but like I say, they've adopted this style again. They've adopted the 70s. It's almost like they've overdosed on Roxy Music and Scott Walker albums and just pushed in a completely different direction. However, what you will see in the coming albums is a lot of thematic repetition. You know, they don't really grow until their last record, but this and their last record, I think, are some really strong bookends of the Pulp experience. Forget those three, but these are the interesting ones. For the big, like the fourth and the eighth album, I've got to work it out in my frazzled mind, or I see them as first and fourth, because I don't count those three. Anyway, so that's that. Hopefully this has been interesting. If it hasn't, I'm sorry. I've been talking about one of my favourites, Pulp's His and Hers, and completely different. And again, I got this back in '94 when it came out. This, like I said, I saw the single on the TV, and I thought, oh, I like the look of that lot, and crikey, Roxy Music. I was into Roxy at that point as well. So it all kind of combined. It's like, they listen to Roxy too. This is the 90s Roxy sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully this has been useful. If it hasn't, there'll be more content for you elsewhere that you'll enjoy better than mine. Don't forget, we'll be doing this again soon. But yeah, thanks for watching. So no more thing left to say. By now you know what that is. And that is ta-da.